I got some.
91.3 WVKR Independent Radio, Poughkeepsie, New York. Sarah McLachlan, World on Fire. We will be talking to Pete Caigan, who recorded that. Let's get him on the line here and have some conversation. Pete, are you with me?
I'm here.
Always a good start if I don't disconnect somebody. So. I always love starting it that way. So, so let me do a brief introduction here to the listeners of LocalMotion. I'll start off by saying sound engineer, drummer, record producer, artist, and audio design consultant Pete Caigan is the owner and operator of Utopia Bearsville, a legendary recording studio located on the Bearsville Theater Complex. He recorded Sarah McLachlan's double platinum album, Afterglow. Also, Billboard #1 reggae album, Living Free by Roots of Creation. He's recorded and played with countless musicians, including Simon Felice, the Felice Brothers, Marco Benevento, Rachel Yamagata, Amy Helm, Jason Downs, just to name a few. And with that, a warm first-time welcome to LocalMotion, Pete Caigan.
Well, thanks for having me, Rita. Great to be on the air with you. I've been a big fan. So
absolutely. And I have two of all your beautiful studios that I've been able to see. Thank you again for the invite, whenever that was, maybe 2 months ago, to Utopia. So that was pretty cool. I'd like to go back in time a little. We're going to end up with Utopia, of course. But let's go back in time to music with you. Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Westchester County in a town called Larchmont.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And
I
when
was born in New York City, and my folks moved there when I was a baby.
Nice. So you were Westchester. And talk about like your musical background. Were your parents musical, or how did music come into your life?
Yeah. My mother was a classical pianist, so I grew up around a lot of music. They used to host every month Performers of Westchester, a classical music concert at our house. And I was exposed to a tremendous amount of music as a kid, so it was really in my DNA, and it seemed only natural to start playing instruments when I was a little kid.
What was your first instrument?
My first instrument was trombone.
In school?
Yep, I played in a school band. I played trombone, but I was always banging on things, and it became pretty obvious that drums were my true instrument.
And when did you start on drums?
I was probably 9 years old when I started taking lessons.
Oh, nice. So you were taking private lessons at that point, playing in school band?
Yeah, that's right. I was in the Harrison Music Center.
Yeah.
And taking lessons with Al Esposito, who was the local drum teacher.
Yeah. Yeah. And what kind of music were you learning drums to?
We were playing classic rock stuff. I mean, we were doing book work so that I could play in the school band, but a lot of, the Police, Phil Collins, those were like my two favorites growing up.
Yeah.
So I'd always be eager to learn those beats and try to figure it out.
And when did you first play in a band?
Probably ninth grade. We had a couple of different bands. We had a Grateful Dead cover band called Us. Double drums. That was awesome.
At ninth grade? That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, we were doing it early. I mean, we weren't really doing much schoolwork, but we were doing a lot of music.
I mean, Grateful Dead in ninth grade. Wow.
Yeah, we were into it. And then we played classic rock. I had a few different bands. We were doing like Buddy Holly and Beach Boys and things like that.
I always like to hear the names of people's first bands. What do you remember some of them besides Us?
Us.
Yes.
Us. I thought it was so good.
Yeah.
It'll still be a good band name. It's probably taken.
Yeah, probably at some point. Yeah, I'm sure it was. So talk to me about going through high school, after high school, when obviously what you started doing and how you got to be into recording.
Well, I was always into music, and at the time, it was encouraged by my family and by the school, but I was in a school where you were supposed to go to math and science class and the usual stuff, and I did, but not very wholeheartedly. We would cut class a lot and do music all through high school. It was always the activity of choice with me and my friends. So that really did get me in trouble in school because the academics suffered a lot. But I never gave up. Music was always at the center. I was playing a lot. I was practicing a lot. I was going to shows. I kind of knew that's where I was going at that point. And then I went to a place around here called Bard College, which many of your listeners probably know.
I had Leon Botstein on last week.
Oh, okay. Leon was president
Yep.
when I was there as well.
Still is since 1976.
Oh, has it been that long? Wow.
Yeah.
So I was very fortunate there to have Leo Smith, who was a jazz trumpeter, as one of my teachers.
Nice.
And Joan Tower, who's a composer, was also one of my teachers. And I studied privately with a gentleman named Nick Mancini.
Wow. Yeah.
And I just dove in. I was practicing. My friends thought I was going crazy. I was practicing like 6 hours a day and then playing in bands and ensembles.
Mm-hmm. So in the area you were playing, right?
Yeah, we were playing local gigs and then playing in all the school activities. There was a lot of composition, a lot of performance.
So back in the day, did you have were you there during Adolph's time, or is that after your time?
I don't know him. No, I wasn't there during his time.
Adolph's was a bar that was on campus.
That was. Oh, you know what? I think that was before my time.
Okay.
Yeah, that was where famously Bob Dylan had some experiences, right?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. How about the Rhinecliff Hotel? Were you part of that?
Yeah, we played at the Rhinecliff Hotel. I probably played there 35 times.
Yeah.
At the Rhinecliff Hotel. For those that don't know, that was an incredible music venue in Rhinecliff. I mean, there was music 5 nights a week. And if you look at the calendar of who played there at the time, it was a lot of bands that ended up being very big.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Natalie Merchant lived right down the road from there, and she was a pretty regular person playing at the Rhinecliff Hotel with the warped ceiling. But boy, did that place have character. We remember that, right?
Oh, very well. And the owner's name was Ed.
Yes.
And he was probably in his 70s, and he would come out every night and start dancing to the band.
Oh, yeah. Ed Tybus, man. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, you know this. Incredible.
I grew up in Tivoli.
Oh, okay. There you go. So, yeah, right. So you know all about it. Yeah, we had a good time there. It was a great venue. There are certain venues from that era that if you look at the calendars, you'll see names of bands that ended up getting very big. Wetlands in New York City is one of them.
Yeah.
Rhinecliff. There were places that were hotbeds of developing music, and that was definitely one of them.
Yeah, so much fun. So much fun. I am so happy to say, too, and I haven't really announced it yet, but since you brought her up, Joan Tower is going to be the first guest on LocalMotion in January of the year.
Oh, terrific.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah. What an incredible just person, never mind her accomplishments, but she's just the real deal, and she's just... I adore Joan Tower. So, yeah.
Me too. She was very supportive of what I was doing. I played in her classical percussion ensemble, which was extremely difficult. But we learned all the parts, and she was incredibly supportive of especially musicians who were working hard at their craft.
Right. Yeah, no, she can tell all of that, and she's a sweetheart. So, of course, Bard brought you to this area. You're now in Woodstock. Since Bard, did you ever leave the area, or?
What happened? I'll tell this part of the story briefly. Is one of my bandmates, Benson Sebastian, who grew up in Woodstock, and his dad is Rock and Roll Hall of Fame artist John Sebastian from the Lovin' Spoonful. So Ben and I were very good friends. We were playing music together, and I would hang out at Benson's house a lot, his parents' house in Woodstock. So I was spending a lot of time here. They really took me in. I felt like they were like my second family. And I just felt a real affinity to the area. I wanted to live in the country. I didn't want to live in New York City full time, which was the path a lot of my friends were taking. At the time, Bearsville Studios was very popular. There were a lot of hit records happening here, and I knew I could have a career and live here. So straight out of college, I moved right to Woodstock. Lived in a little cabin on a mountain with no bathroom.
Oh, wow.
And just dove in. I started playing professionally. I was giving drum lessons.
You're like a
more.
reggae, right? Weren't you into reggae heavily?
Sure. I was playing mostly in alternative rock bands.
Okay.
Around the area and touring. But yeah, I always loved reggae. I had dreadlocks, so of course that
I was
That's
hoping when I asked you for
obvious.
a picture to post that you would have given me a dreadlock photo, but you didn't.
Yeah, that was it's not so current. If I
Ah,
had enough hair, I would grow dreadlocks again. Don't get me
right, right, right,
wrong.
right, 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 right. Yeah, no,
So yeah, it was a
that's
great time. The '90s in Woodstock was real. It was a hotbed for music. There was a lot going on here, and I was also in the city. I did have a place in the city. I had an apartment I shared with like 8 people,
mhm. Yeah.
and we would all chip in a couple $100s a month in the West Village, and you could stay there whenever you wanted. No one ever knew who was there, but they were just it's like a flop house. There were beds all over.
Uh-huh.
So I
Uh-huh.
always kept a presence in New York because I had gigs down there. I was working in the city, but I was spending the majority of my time up here.
And when did you start? This is all playing. When did you start getting into the recording part of it, like the sound engineer
Yeah.
part of all of that?
I was 29 and I had just gotten married and I was playing professionally, but I was settling down, I guess, a little bit
Right?
and decided to call a well-known drummer in the area. Many people know Jerry Murata
Oh, well, yeah, of course.
because Jerry was kind of like, I just wanted to be around him. He was playing on so many records at the time, like tons of hit records.
Yep.
And I knew he had a studio, so I thought, well, this is cool. Maybe I'll just hang out at his studio and see how it goes. So I learned a software recording program called Pro Tools,
Hmm.
which you might have heard of. It's probably the most popular recording software out there. I took a class in New York City, a 5-day class. I got very good at it in a short amount of time. I had a home system, so I got proficient. I called Jerry. I was scared, like calling this guy. And he said, come on over. I'm here. So I went over, and I started spending a lot of time at his studio. Really interning. It was a very traditional route. Like I was making coffee. I was hanging out. They were making records. Jerry was there all the time. Tony Levin was there. There was an engineer whose name was Doug Stringer, who was also a drummer. He was the main engineer. And I would just be helpful. I wasn't getting paid. I was just kind of there in my spare time doing what I could.
Like a fly on the wall
And
kind of a
then,
thing.
yeah, fly on the wall and just, it's really a classic internship.
Hmm.
You don't get paid, maybe you get paid. Now you get paid to be an intern usually, but
Hmm.
at the time it wasn't that way. And I was so happy to be there, and so that was great. And I learned the ropes of the studio. And about a year later, the engineer just couldn't take it anymore. He decided to quit
Hmm.
and move on to other things. And there was a big record coming into the studio the following week, which was Sarah McLachlan Afterglow.
Mm. Mm.
And Jerry said, "You want to record it?"
Wow.
And I was like, "Well, of course I want to, but I'm like, come on, really?" And he's like, "Don't worry, you'll be fine. You'll be fine."
Wow.
So I
Wow.
was like, "Okay, so we'll do it."
So that
So
was your
Pierre
first
Marchand.
project.
Well, I had done a lot of little things, and I had a home studio, and I had made a lot
Right.
of
Right.
records.
Right.
And that was the first really major project that I was the engineer. So Pierre Marchand, who is Sarah's producer, he produced many of her records, came, flew into Kingston Airport with his little airplane from Toronto, and came to the studio. And we spent a few days recording Tony and Jerry playing bass and drums. And I didn't mess up.
That's a good
Which was a
thing.
feat, and it went on to sell 2 million records.
Amazing. Wow.
Yeah, so
Wow.
I just was like extremely lucky,
Yeah.
and super grateful to Jerry for giving me the opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah.
People go to school for years and years. They spend years in recording studios and never really have a big success. So it was dropped in my lap at a young age. I think I was 31.
Wow.
And it really propelled my career. It just it gave people faith that I could do it.
Yeah.
I got
Oh,
hired for a lot of things after that.
absolutely. You get a name like that and a hit record like that, and that just opened your doorways 100%. Yeah. 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 And then talk more about you stayed there for a little bit at Dreamland.
This was pre-Dreamland, actually. The Dreamland story starts in 2008, which I'm happy to tell as well. This was like 2002, 2001, 2002. I kept working with Jerry at his studio. I also had a studio at my house called we we had a cottage on our property.
Mm-hmm.
We owned a house in Woodstock, and I moved my studio equipment in there and opened it and called it Flymax.
Yeah.
I operated Flymax on and off out of my guest house on my property from 2002 until 2008.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we did a lot of great records. I worked with Daryl Jennifer from the Bad Brains.
Wow.
He produced a band called Bedouin Sound Clash, who had just come off winning the Juno for Best New Artist in Canada. We did that at Flymax. The album's called Street Gospels, and that went gold, which was great.
Really
and
great.
Just many records. Yeah, it was cool. It was a good spot. It was a little small. I felt like always like wanting more.
Right.
And I moved in and out of that studio a couple times and tried a couple of other avenues. Interestingly enough, and I don't know how much we need to go into this, but a gentleman I knew had bought the old Bearsville studios in 2005 as his home. Bought it from Sally Grossman, who was the originally married to Albert Grossman and owned it. And he was living there with his family. And in 2005, we three of us set up small recording setups at the original Bearsville. And we were we started doing recordings there. And it was fun. He wasn't charging us rent. We felt like it was okay because he lived there. But it turned out that he had signed something with the previous owner saying it wouldn't be a recording studio.
Ah.
So it was pretty incredible, but it was short-lived.
We
did do some records. It was short-lived. But we did do some records at Bearsville after it was Bearsville, which is it was the beginning of some of the Felice Brothers recordings. Jonas Smith did a record there. There was a handful of records done there.
Wow. Really, really cool.
Yeah, that was an interesting phase.
So now you had this amazing studio, which is part of the Bearsville Theater Complex, which was fully revamped by the owner, Lizzie Van, who purchased the property in 2019. And on that property are restaurants, the beautiful Bearsville Theater, the legendary Bearsville Theater. Tinker Street is there. I think there's an ice cream shop there. And then, of course, there's your separate building, which used to house Radio Woodstock up until when? A couple of years ago. Tell me, 2019?
Yes, I think Radio Woodstock moved out of there in 2021, probably.
Yeah. And then the history of Bearsville is, Utopia Bearsville is extraordinary. Todd Rundgren, of course. Talk about like the start of it, like Albert Grossman, the whole like that building in and of itself, what it all went through.
I have stories. These are all secondhand stories, but I've spoken to a lot of people who were involved in the original inception of the space and what happened. So if any of this is inaccurate, feel free to correct me if anybody listening knows. But this is based on what I've gleaned from people I've spoken to. It was originally started in 1979. Albert Grossman built it for Todd Rundgren, built the Utopia building, which is a very large building. There's a lot of space. It was properly built originally as a video studio for Todd. They all saw that MTV was just starting and that there would be a need, and Todd was very into video, that there would be a need for a video studio in Woodstock. So it was built from the ground up, and the studio architect was John Storick, who is still the top studio builder designer in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The John Storick Design Group, if you look it up, you'll see they build theaters and studios all over the world. So John built the place with the intention of Todd using it with Albert paying for it. It was completed in 1980, and they started to make videos there. And Todd was working there, and it was his studio. But what happened, according to what I understand, is they were having the challenge of not being able to supply the right cameras and lights for the clients. Mm-hmm. It was a huge expense to bring everything up from New York City. But at the time, it could be millions of dollars worth of equipment. And from what I heard, and I don't know all the details, Todd and Albert had a falling out as well. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So Todd ended up moving out of the space, I believe in 1981. And it became one of the rooms of the Bearsville studio, really, empire. So Bearsville Studio had Studio A, Studio B, a building called Turtle Creek, and Utopia.
Oh.
So it operated all through the 80s and 90s as one of the Bearsville studio rooms.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah, wild, right?
It is wild because when you also go into Bearsville Theater and when you go into Utopia, the records that were recorded there, talk about some of those legendary records that were recorded at Bearsville Studio.
I mean, the discography is unreal. There's hundreds of platinum and gold records that were recorded there. It's one of the top studios of all time in the world, up there with Motown and Stax.
Right.
So, you could go, if you're a Fish fan, a bunch of Fish records were recorded there. Metallica, the Indigo Girls, REM, the first couple of Dave Matthews Band records. I mean, it's really on and on and on. I would suggest just Google online, like Bearsville Studios discography.
Yeah, just absolutely amazing.
I mean, Joe Jackson, Joan Jett,
wow,
Pretenders. It's like rock and roll who's who.
Yeah. And that was so that was 80s and 90s, right?
That was 80s and 90s and into the 2000s a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Early 2000s.
Yep. And then that closed and the radio station went there.
The radio station went into Utopia in, I believe, 2003.
Gotcha.
They moved in there, yep.
Right. And then fast forward to 2019 when Lizzie buys this property. Yep. What were her original intentions for that? Bringing it back to life as a recording?
She wanted it to be a recording studio. She wanted it to be a recording studio.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
She and I were always friendly ever since she moved to town, and she was more than once asked me what it would take to get me to come record it. Studio. I, at the time, had a studio in Kingston at the old IBM complex. I had the old fire station. There's a big firehouse there. It's a cool spot. I did some good stuff there. We did the New Pornographers a couple years ago.
Oh, nice.
Did some interesting things there.
Uh-huh.
It got, as most people in the area know, the property was bought a couple years ago, and the new landlords wanted everybody out. So I moved out, and then this Utopia opportunity seemed very attractive suddenly.
Yeah. Bringing it up to today, and by the way, listeners, we are talking to Pete Caigan from Utopia Bearsville Recording Studio, info@utopiabearsville.com. The studio is extraordinary. Talk more, and I am not into the gear. I know nothing about it other than, your desks and things like that. But talk about what you had to do to bring it to where it is now, where you're recording a whole bunch of great people.
Well, so in many traditional recording studios, this is a large format recording studio. So there will be a large room called the live room, like the big room. Ours is 40 feet by 45 feet with 30-foot ceilings. So there'll be that, and then there'll be what's called the control room, where the engineers sit, and most of you have probably seen photographs of these things. It's a room with a large recording console. And then there's a number of different what are called booths, which are isolation rooms with windows, where the artists can see each other into the big room and they can see the control room. So what I had to really do was bring it back to what it was. When the radio station went in there, they had put walls up in the control room and divided it into smaller production rooms. So we had to take down the walls and then make it nice, as far as painting, new floors. And then the big one was sound treatments, which are acoustic treatments, which my company Flymax Sound specializes in. We design sound treatments for recording studios, restaurants, venues. We did all the sound treatments for the control room and the booths. And what those do is they make it sound neutral, generally, with like a little bit of a sound, but what you want what you're hearing to translate to the outside world. So you don't want an echo. You want to make sure that all the frequencies you're hearing in your ear are actually what are coming out of the speakers, not being accentuated or diminished by the dimensions of the room.
Right.
So there was a lot of acoustic treatments. The owner had made the live room really nice.
Right.
she had bought very expensive curtains from India. I think, I don't even want to say how much. Really fancy curtains, which is a great feature because we can draw the curtain back and have a vibrant sound that's full of life with an echo, or we can let the curtains all drop and it's very dead.
Right.
So that's it's a unique feature of a recording studio. So as far as the construction, those are the main things I did. And then I brought in an API access recording console, which is a top-of-the-line new recording console by a company called API, which is really the best American recording console company. And it's the only one in the area, and it's a real pleasure to work on.
Wow.
Really the best.
Now, did you have to get trained on that because it's a specific console, or
a little bit?
Yeah, because it's massive.
I'm a professional sound engineer, so I was the house engineer to another local studio called Dreamland,
mm-hmm.
which is a place that Jerry Murata and I brought back to life in 2008. It had been closed for 8 years.
Yep.
It's been around since 1986. It's a legendary recording studio.
Mm-hmm.
Great spot. So I was the house engineer from 2008 to 2012 there, and they also have an API.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So I knew the basics, but there were some learning. There was a couple of bumps in the road, some learning curves, but mostly I knew what was how to use it.
Right. The live room at your place is like, I've never seen anything quite like it because of the height of the ceilings, and it's just amazing. I know there's also been some pretty prominent bands that have done some rehearsals there. Talk about how some of the space is used sometimes.
We can do tour rehearsals, full-scale tour rehearsals, full productions. The Lumineers did their tour rehearsals in 2022 in the space. That was before I had taken it over, but they did their full production. So they'll come in and set up the same equipment they're going to use for a stadium. And they'll build the stage and have all the sound men and the lighting guys in there. Todd Rundgren has done 2 tour rehearsals there. So it's a nice thing we're able to provide for the community. If you need to spend a couple of weeks and get your live show together, we're ready to host that.
Yeah, you're ready to host that right there. And it's pretty amazing. And it's so inviting too, the nice carpets out there. Talk about some of the equipment that you have there, piano and things.
Yeah, we have a 1974 Steinway B 7-foot grand that we just completely overhauled, which was a fairly big project. New hammers, new strings, new action, new bushings, new felts. So the piano just plays really, really well.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It's a real feature of the studio now. I was a little hesitant to do it, but my buddy, who many of you know, John Medeski,
mm-hmm.
told me that I had to do it.
Yes, and it's well worth it too. So, John
so
says
we're hosting. We have a couple things coming up which I can't speak of yet, but they're piano featured records.
Oh, perfect!
And people are coming for the piano.
Sure,
so it's already paid for itself.
No, absolutely. And it's great to have equipment like that because, people say, oh, what kind of piano's there? And that's something you can't easily transport. So,
we have the piano. It's great. And we have the microphones. We have all the outboard gear. Everything's dialed. It's all the best stuff.
Right.
Not for want of anything, which is, it's important when artists come. They don't want to have to think about it. They just want to know they got all the good stuff there.
Yeah. Utopia Bearsville. What a extraordinary place, and the sound and everything was just so cool. Now, talk a little bit also that with the Flymax, the sound design and all of that. You're into that as well because I saw you at the local in Saugerties, and you kind of helped them out a little bit there too, as far as the design.
Yeah, I do this size. It's just something I can do. It's something I'm good at. I don't have. It just comes naturally. So I design and install sound systems for venues, as well as do their acoustic treatments for their rooms. So a lot of local clubs, I just come in and I'm often friends with the owners. Pearl Moon Woodstock, the Colony Woodstock, the local, White Feather Farm, Senate Garage in Kingston. So we come in, it's really just me, but I have a team of carpenters that I work with. And we look at the space and we can figure out how it sounds. We can run tests, or really we can just listen to music. It's fairly easy for me to tell at this point. And then we decide what's needed to make it sound better.
Uh-huh.
Or even, it depends on the needs of the client. We helped with the renovation of a couple local restaurants, but one in particular that I'm proud of, which is called Good Night in Woodstock.
Uh-huh.
It's a Asian, like Pan-Asian restaurant, I guess you'd call it. And they had a very, very specific design aesthetic, and it's gorgeous. And they didn't want any of the acoustic treatments to be visible.
Uh-huh.
They wanted it to look like nothing was going on.
Uh-huh, yeah.
So we built a bunch of, it looks like heating ducts and planters and troughs up in the ceiling that just, they don't look like anything, but they're actually sound traps. So when you eat dinner there, it's like really quiet.
Wow.
You don't hear you don't hear the plates and the silverware.
Wow. It's
And
really
I designed a
interesting
sound
that
system for it.
that a restaurant really takes that much care of the sound. That doesn't
They
happen
really
every day.
did, because you know what? They also own a place called Sylvia, and they
Yeah.
consulted me when they first got it.
Mm-hmm.
A great restaurant, incredible restaurant, and they didn't do anything I said. And then it was a disaster, and if you were in there, you couldn't even hear the person across from you talking. And then they called me back, and they were like, "What do we do?" And I told them what to do, and they did it. And then now it's quiet. So after that, when they opened the second restaurant, they got me in at the beginning.
Right. And they listen to you too.
They did, and they spent the money, which was great because they very expensive sound system, and they spent a lot on the acoustics. But it depends who you are. But some people really care about that when they go out to eat.
Oh, absolutely. Because if it's a
You want a
loud
quiet
noise
place.
level and all of that, it's annoying. It's part of the ambiance of not just good food, but it's ambiance is a big part of going out, obviously, also. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. So we'll do the acoustics and also large sound systems for venues.
Mhm.
We have if people need to put in a full sound system with all the monitors, the board, the mics, all that stuff. We have really good relationships with the retailers as well, so it works out well. We get them a good deal, and they get a great system. So it turned
Yeah.
out to be a good service. I feel good about it.
Um, Tell us some of the recent folks or people that you can talk about, because I know in
So
recording
there's a thing in
sometimes
the
you
recording.
can't. Yeah,
You
but
can't really talk about it till it's out.
right,
But I could talk about a few things because people have posted already. So
right.
we've been doing a bunch of piano demos with Amanda Palmer
Yeah.
of the Dresden Dolls. Amanda's a pleasure to work with. I think she's one of the great writers of our time and an incredible performer. They just sold out 4 days in New York City at Bowery Ballroom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We've been working with the Felice Brothers,
Very cool.
which is always great. I've been working with those guys on and off for over 20 years.
Amazing.
Simon came in. He's producing this incredible artist named Diana DeMuth.
Yes.
We did.
He's been working
Diana,
with her
Diana
for a
was
couple of
in.
years now.
Yeah, her new stuff it's off the hook. It's great. And he brought in a guitar player who I didn't know, but then I looked him up. His name is Rhodes, singer-songwriter from England, but he played guitar on her record. He's kind of a big deal. I didn't know his music until he came in, but I looked it up, and his top Spotify song's like 200 million plays.
Jeez. Okay.
So that was cool.
Yeah.
What else? We're working on a record. I played, I'm a drummer too. I played drums and did some engineering on a new record, an EP by Alexa Ray Joel, who is Billy Joel's daughter.
Oh.
It's so good. It's going to be out soon. A good friend of mine, Tony Bruno, and Tommy Burns they're the co-producers. Tommy plays guitar in Billy Joel's band, and Tony has been the music director for Rihanna, Enrique Iglesias, and he's a buddy of mine. We play in cover bands, bars around the area. So he's the producer. So that's coming out soon, hopefully.
Fun. Yeah. Do you have?
So yeah, it's just crazy. It's really starting to happen. Like today, my friend Harvey Sorgan, who was in. He had to do drums on a track for somebody, so he hired me to record the drums for him.
Yeah.
Actually, the artist hired me. We had a film. The other thing we offer Utopia is it's a full-on film production studio.
There you
go. Black box.
Mm.
It's a black box, which is rare. So if you want to find a place, we have 200 circuits on the ceiling on a lighting grid and professional lighting. So we had a film company in shooting scenes for an upcoming film called After This Death. So that's a very, very nice thing for us, and it's a good service for the area. There aren't too many places like that where you can go in with a full 30-person crew.
Yeah.
And shoot what you need to shoot, and it's dead quiet. The walls are 2 foot thick concrete.
Yeah.
And, we have a lot of power.
Obviously you're doing a lot of recording people, but you also have this other capabilities too. Like just a band that wants going out on tour, that wants to rehearse for a couple of weeks, you have the room to accommodate them, so
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, the biggest things we could do is the tour rehearsals, recording studio, which is really my bag, but the video studio, and we also have a video podcast room
mm-hmm.
that we just started using. It just has gone live in the past couple of weeks. So people can come in and sit down and record a 1-hour podcast. I mean, in 90 minutes. Like sit down, it takes 15 minutes to settle in. We're rolling. We have a director sitting there. You hand over the graphics. And we'll produce a 1-hour long video podcast in 90 minutes.
Wow.
And you'll leave with a finished product.
Awesome. Wow.
So
Yeah.
that's another cool thing. So yeah, we're kind of doing it all.
You kind of are doing it all. And if people want to contact you, you're, of course, all over social media and utopiabearsville.com. You've got a great website with some lovely photos so people can get an idea of exactly what they're going into. And, of course, you're just Bearsville Theater Complex is where you're part of, which is literally, 2 miles outside of the town or town.
Yeah, we're right outside Woodstock. It's a beautiful little enclave.
Yeah.
Lizzie's done an incredible job renovating the property. We have, right outside the studio door, we have like 2 restaurants, a bar, and the Bearsville Theater. We also are in the process of installing what we call tie lines, so we're connecting the theater to Utopia.
Oh.
So we'll be able to do audio, video recording of performances at the theater.
I love
in Utopia.
That.
It's great. It's great. I'm really excited for that. I've recorded a lot of live records over the years. I recorded the Wood Brothers live at Levon's. I recorded Marco Benevento's new live record that's coming out next year. Tony Trishka record. So it's something I do a lot, and we're going to be set up to do it in a one-stop shop with like all the best gear.
Isn't that something? What a great idea, because you've got the theater right there. That makes total sense to do that.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's nice to be in an isolated environment. This is sort of techie, but when you record a record, if you're in the venue, it can be very challenging.
Yes.
You hear the sound on stage, and it's like,
right.
Can't really tell what's going on in the recording, so this would be great because it's totally isolated.
Yeah. No, you got a great thing going on. I mean, like I said, you gave me a tour there, I think it was 2 months ago or something like that, and just very impressive. Everything that is right there that you need, and but yet remote too, because I think that's important probably for artists, right? To get the vibe and to just,
I think people want to feel like a safe environment where they can be creative.
Yep.
And they want to feel that they're in a place where there's the best equipment with the best staff,
yep.
where they can just like flow and not have to like really worry about the outside world.
Right.
So it's always been an attractive thing about Woodstock is there's nature. You can come, you can like kind of like try to block out the outside world and make your records or films or whatever, and have that environment where you feel like, comfortable to be creative.
And of course, the grounds where you're on, if you want to take a little breather and walk outside, talk about what's outside there, the beautiful park.
I mean, there's Bearsville Park now. The owner built this incredible park with a walking trail and picnic benches. You can go sit by the stream, you can go fishing. It's pretty idyllic.
Yeah, it is. And it's just so beautiful and peaceful and all of that. Utopia Bearsville. So you sent me a couple of tracks, which when you and I are done in a minute, I'm going to play some. Talk about the Simon Felice track that you sent.
Sure. I mixed that record, Simon Felice's eponymous solo record, so it's called Simon Felice. Came out in 2012. We mixed it at Dreamland. I mixed it with Jeremy Backoffen, a good friend of mine who produced many of the Felice Brothers records. And it's just incredible. I love that record and that song in particular, You and I Belong. Just incredible feeling on that song.
Yeah.
So that represents some of my mix work I wanted people to hear.
Nice. Yep. And that's what the next track I'm going to play is. And then also the Felice Brothers. Talk about that one, the Green Automobile.
Yeah. So that's a new one. They have a record coming out, and that's one of the tracks off the record. And what we did is we set up at Utopia in July with a video crew, and we did a live recording in the room where they played the song. They needed some promotional materials. So Green Automobile is one of the songs off the new record, and this is the live version that we did at Utopia in July.
And when is their record being released?
Great question. Early 2024. I don't know the date.
Gotcha. With hopefully a tour to follow, I'm guessing.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And then talk about Barry.
Oh, I wanted to play some Barry Coral. I produced that record. Barry is like family to me. If you don't know her now, you will. Her solo career as an adult artist, she made, I think, 3 or 4 records, and then went on to, she decided she wants to do children's music, yoga music for children. She has a YouTube page, Barry Coral Yoga, BARIKORAL, and she's got over 500,000 subscribers.
Unbelievable. Yes.
Unbelievable. Her top video has like 300 million views.
Hello. How do you even get that? I don't even get it. Amazing.
I look it up. I don't know. She's just really found a niche. Her videos are really cool. They're animated, and they are yoga for kids. So a parent can put it on, and their kid does yoga, and it's like fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's part of it. So this was one of her records I produced, her last adult record, and it's got Jerry Marotta on drums, Tony Levin on bass, and Bill Dillon playing guitar. And if you don't know who all those guys are, maybe look them up. It's
Look them
real
up. Yeah. Yeah.
super hit trio,
Yeah.
incredible. And Barry just sounds so good on it. So I just want everybody to hear her adult stuff, because she's really become famous for the kids' music, but her adult music is incredible.
Yeah, is just as good. Yeah. I was listening to all the tracks that you send, because I always like to listen to what I'm going to play first. So I'm going to go play those 3. And we started off before you and I spoke with the Sarah McLachlan World on Fire track. So that was awesome.
Terrific.
Just beautiful. So yeah. Well, Pete, I'm congratulating you on this beautiful venture that you've got at Utopia Bearsville. People want to do a recording or have questions or anything like that, they should contact Pete Caigan. Again, just go to utopiabearsville.com. Easy to contact you there. You're also on social media. What have we left out?
I think we just left out how much I appreciate you, Rita.
Aw. I appreciate
Rita
you.
Ryan has been a fixture of the local music community for a long time.
So,
I'm really happy I've been able to be on your show.
Yeah, and it's about time.
Shining a light on what we're doing.
Yeah, well, when you invited me, I'm like, this is just like the perfect opportunity. I think I looked at the dates I had, and we got this one to work out. So it's an honor to have you on, and keep making all this great music and bringing it to the world. And, people just, again, utopiabearsville.com. Pete Caigan, you look him up, and any questions, he's always going to be answering you. And by the way, I just got a little text from Danny. He's listening to Pete saying, "Barry's my wife." It's so cute.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Danny's
That's
my
wonderful.
good friend. You all got to check out the local in Saugerties.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I've been living at the local like every weekend. I think it's just such a great vibe there, and
it's incredible. He and Isabel Soffer, who they're
Yes.
both world-class music promoters, bringing music that would be in much bigger places to Saugerties. So
Yeah. I think they're going to outgrow that place. They're going to need like a couple 100-seat venue at some point. They keep going the way they are.
Totally.
And the beautiful
Absolutely.
business partnership of Isabel and Danny is that he comes, primarily from the jazz world, and then Isabel, world music and that kind of thing. So you mesh those two together, and this lineup of people that are coming to the local is just extraordinary. So
programming's great.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, well, good. Thank you for listening, Danny. And you know what? Let me play some Barry music now, since I know he's on the phone.
There we go.
And then we will. I'll play Simon Felice after that, because that's a great track that I want to play. So yeah, absolutely.
Sounds good. Well, thanks again, Rita, and hopefully I'll see you soon.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll see you soon. Thanks for your time, Pete, and best of luck with everything.
Pleasure.
See you next time. Take care.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye. 91.3 WVKR, Independent Radio, Poughkeepsie, New York. That's recording engineer Pete Caigan from Utopia Bearsville. Check it out if you're into recording, or you need rehearsal space, or you want to make a video or a podcast. He's doing it all. utopiabearsville.com. It's on the legendary complex of the Bearsville Theater, literally a mile or two outside of the town of Woodstock. And as promised, let's play some music from Barry Coral. And this was an album that Pete recorded, the album called Confessions of an Indie Girl. I think you'll recognize the song. Let's talk about it a little bit after we take a listen to her music right here, right now on 91.3.
he's leaving the life he's come to know. He says, God says, going back to find, he's going back to find what's left of his world, what he left behind, and not so long ago. He's leaving on a midnight train to Georgia. Says going back to find, he's going back to find a similar place and time. Here's just wanna be like mine, and I'll be with him on that midnight train to Georgia. I'd rather live in his world than live without him in mine. He kept dreaming that one day he'd be a star, oh, a superstar, but he didn't get far, and he sure found out the hard way that dreams don't always come true. Oh no, oh, so he just packed up his hopes. Ooh, he even sold his own car, but a one-way ticket back to the life that he once knew. He said he would just wanna be like mine, and I'll be with him on that midnight train to Georgia. I'd rather live on his world than live without him in mine. My world, his world, my world, now he's alone. My world, his world, my world, now he's alone. And I got to go, got to go, got to go home. And I got to go, got to go, got to go home.
You and I belong to the day. You and I belong to the day. Holy Moses, don't they just slip away? You and I belong to the day. You and I belong to the woods. You and I belong to the woods. That mean old city, baby, she just ain't no good. You and I belong to the woods. You and I belong to the morning. sound again. But we won't last an hour upon that stage. Too young, too proud, too high to stick around. So get me gone and carry me out of the crowd. You and I belong to the day. You and I belong to the day. Come be my shepherd, babe, in fields where we lay. You and I belong to the day. You and I belong to the day. You and I belong to the day.
91.3 WVKR Independent Radio, Poughkeepsie, New York. It's 4:58 p.m. and we just heard Simon Felice, his 2011 release, self-titled, and the track we heard, You and I Belong, sent to us today by Pete Caigan, who we just had on the show here for the 4 o'clock hour. Pete is the recording engineer from Utopia Bearsville, legendary studio, and we also heard another track that Pete sent to us, Barry Coral, Confessions of an Indie Girl. We heard the track Midnight Train to Georgia. So thanks, Pete, for sending me those two tracks. Midnight Train to Georgia, of course, originally done by Gladys Knight and the Pips, and became a massive hit. And Barry doing a beautiful version of that on her release titled Confessions of an Indie Girl. So thank you again to Pete Caigan for being today's guest here. We'll probably try to get another track on before the show ends at 5 o'clock from the Felice Brothers. These are all tracks mixed or recorded by Pete Caigan, today's guest from Utopia Bearsville. So what we do each and every show and each and every hour where we don't have a guest, we pay tribute. We start off that hour by paying tribute to Tony Falco from the Falcon. Tony passed away October 27th of 2021, so it's just over 2 years ago. And there's so many things he brought to us all here in the Hudson Valley that I will, as long as I do this show, continue every single show I do to pay tribute to Tony. The thing that most people know about Tony is that he opened the Falcon in Marlborough in 2009, in where the building sits now. He started it at his house a couple of decades ago. It was a potluck kind of a get together that he held most Saturdays, and most of the time it was jazz musicians coming up from New York City. And then it got to be so popular that Tony bought the building where the Falcon now sits, and made it home for so many of us that love that place. Tony also left a beautiful couple of playlists, which is where I get these tracks from that I play. They're from Tony, and I always enjoyed going to the Falcon, still do, and always listening to what Tony would play before the music started, the live music started, because it was always something interesting. And many times while I was sitting waiting for music to start from live music, I would hear something I'd never heard before. And so going through the playlist that Tony left, I go in order. I don't just pick and choose. I go every week and I just follow whatever is there the next week. A majority of the music I know, but some of it I don't. So I feel like Tony is still guiding me into learning more different kinds of music. And so I just play a track, and I hope that if you knew him, you take a few minutes of time to just listen to the music and remember your thoughts and memories about Tony and the Falcon, or however it is you knew Tony. And if you didn't know him, maybe consider going to the Falcon and seeing what it's all about, because it's going strong and it is a beautiful place. And anyway, let's take a listen to a track from Tony Falco's playlist. This is by a band called the Lemonheads, And the album, the track is called Abandoned. Let's take a listen right now. 91.3 WVKR.
All of my love has been taken for granted. I've been fair, but you've been underhanded. I've been disgraced, and I can't bear to face it. 'Cause the truth is, my heart has been abandoned. I was hoping for heaven, but baby, I ain't blind. This ain't the first time I've been undermined. Sad eyes, crooked smile that I remember well. Now it looks like all I got is time to kill. You can't fool me, I see it in your eyes. You can't fool me, I see it in your eyes. Everything I thought we had has all been cast aside. You can't fool me, I see it in your eyes. Are the same boots I was wearing then, and this beer I'm drinking still the same old brand. But these blues are something new that came around when I lost you. Now it looks like I got stuck with an empty hand. You can't fool me, I see it in your eyes. You can't fool me, I see it in your eyes. Everything I thought we had has all been cast aside. You can't fool me, I see it in your eyes. You can't fool me, I see it in your eyes.
I got a woman, fine as she could be. I worship the ground she walks on. Ain't no fooling, she knows what she's doing when she wraps her arms around me. It's not hard to please her, I want her in a piece of her good love every day. I never tell her no, 'cause I love her so. Her happiness is on to me. She gave me tough love, it's good for me. Tough love, yes indeed. Tough love at the shopping mall. Tough love, taking it all. Ain't no drama, don't need another mama. She treats me just like a man. Oh lawyer gets me staring. The new dress that she's wearing, bedazzled and bejeweled, outstanding. I'd brave, snap the fire, walk the high wire. If she needed me to, I'd be cold without a coat, swim a castle moat. There's nothing I wouldn't do for that tough love, good for me. Tough love, yes indeed. Tough love at the shopping mall. Tough love, taking it all. When I get home, there's the most beautiful woman that I've ever seen. Back at my castle where I am a king. All I wanna do is just serve my queen. Tough love, good for me. Tough love, yes indeed. Tough love at the shopping mall. Tough love, taking it all. Tough love. Tough love. Tough love. Tough love.
91.3 WVKR Independent Radio, Poughkeepsie, New York. Morale Coriel, the album called Mr. Senator, the track Tough Love, featuring none other than Bill Evans on the sax. Great track. This album was released a couple of years ago by Morale, who's a great blues singer, songwriter, travels all over the planet, and we're lucky enough to call him neighbor here in the Hudson Valley. Morale will be doing a show tomorrow night at the Falcon in Marlborough. You never need to buy a ticket, just make a reservation. Live at thefalcon.com. Morale Coriel bringing his show there tomorrow night, and he's a killer guitarist for sure. We started this hour off by paying tribute to Tony Falco, playing a track from his playlist. The album was called Varshians 2, the track abandoned by the band The Lemonheads. You'll just never know what you find on Tony Falco's playlist, and it's a joy every week just to see what the next track is that I'm going to play here for you all. And it's 5:10. I'm your host, Rita Ryan, here each and every Wednesday from 4 to 6 p.m., bringing you Local Motion, music of the Hudson Valley. We talk to musicians that come here, that play here, that come to record here. Last week we talked to the president of Bard College, all kinds of venue owners, all kinds of anything to do with the arts is what we're into here. So thanks everybody for tuning in, whether it's online at WVKR.org or on the dial, however it is that you're here today. Thanks for being here. Please consider subscribing to the YouTube channel where you can listen to interviews that we've hosted before. Everything's uploaded there. If you'd give a like and a follow on the YouTube channel called Local Motion on 91.3 WVKR, that would be greatly appreciated. Let's play another track from another artist that will be at the Falcon this weekend on Sunday, Guillermo Klein. Let's take a listen. 91.3 WVKR.
it that far, babe, that's something. This too shall lie. Every moment to the letter. This too shall lie. So you whip the horses harder. Bad hand, you can lay it. There's no game without that. Hey man, we can say it. Depends on how we're praying. Everything will be everything if we make it that far, babe, that's something. This too shall lie. Every moment to the letter. This too shall lie. Lie.
91.3. Amy Helm, the album called This Too Shall Light. We just heard the title track from that. Amy Helm is got just a few dates on the calendar for the remainder of this year. And lucky for us, they're all local, which means they're at the legendary Levon Helm Studios in Woodstock, starting this Saturday, November 4th, the Helm Family Midnight Ramble. And it will happen again on Saturday, December 2nd, and then New Year's Eve, which is a very traditional date for them where they've got a great bunch of guests coming in. And so amyhelm.com, also levonhelm.com for all the info to the upcoming rambles. They usually sell out pretty quick. There's wait lists you can get onto if you so choose to. And I think she's coming out with a new record too. So looking forward to that release sometime next year. We also heard a track from Guillermo Klein, the album called Telmo's Tune, the track Push Me Not. Guillermo will be playing this Sunday night at the Falcon, part of their Jazz Sunday series. This happening on Sunday, this coming Sunday, November 5th. That's what's happening there. And I want to play a track now by a gentleman that sent me this track, but also was sent to me by Danny Bloom, who's another recording engineer here in the area. We're lucky to have so many vibrant and incredible world-class recording studios. So Danny Bloom recorded this gentleman called Soren's Song, and we're going to play a track that Soren also sent me. So let's take a listen to this new music here called Dear Sadness. 91.3 WVKR.
Dear sadness, I see you coming from across the room. Now that I finally found a happy home. And I don't need them to know how well I know you. You've had me everywhere. Can I have anywhere of my own? Dear sadness, I can see you creeping, trying to catch my eye. Now that I finally found a few new friends. And I can feel you coming up right behind me to remind me every good thing must end. Dear sadness, you can go f*** yourself. I try to leave you, I try to change you, I tried to stay.
.91.3 WVKR. There's a technical snafu with that track. Let me see if I can bring up the second track that Soren Song sent me.
I don't mind the pause of your rhythms, babe, but I can't step in time with them no more. There's folks that choose to die for a living, babe. I'm dying to live for so much more. Be still, my mind. And I'll have no relation to that prison, babe. I will come and go just as I please. There's folks that need to die to be risen, babe. There's folks that must be driven to their knees. Be still, my mind. Be still, my mind, with every beat of my heart. Let it go. Let it go, dear. Be still, my mind. Let every end be a start. And let it go. Let it all fall apart. And I can't lose my voice and keep giving, babe. I can't find the light if I can't see. And I would rather die than lose my vision, babe. I should have found someone who isn't me. Be still, my mind. Be still, my mind, with every beat of my heart. Let it go. Let it go, dear. Be still, my mind. Let every end be a start. And let it go. Let it all fall apart.
I'm always chasing the sun, wondering what'll come with a new day. I'm done with looking behind, I'm done with losing my mind. There's gotta be a better way. Somewhere on the horizon, a new world is rising. This I believe. Something I could only imagine. Some kind of magic is waiting for me. Run, 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 run till I catch the light. Run, 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 run till I catch the light. Run, 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 run till I catch the light. Run, 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 run till I catch the light. Run, 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 run till I catch the light. Run, 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 run till I catch the light. I take my hands off the wheel. I am surrounded by fields. The light has gotten me home. I'm off to where I belong. The road is singing a song. It's how I know where to go. It's a song that I know. Somewhere out over the ocean, planets in motion, and I can see something I've only imagined. Some kind of magic is coming for me, and I keep running. I'm chasing the sun. I'm chasing the sun. Oh, I keep running. I'm chasing the sun. I'm chasing the sun.
91.3 WVKR. Lissy. Chasing the Sun, album called Carving Canyons. She'll be performing in Woodstock at the Bearsville Theater this weekend, November 4th, which is Saturday. And yeah, tickets available, bearsvilletheater.com for Lissy. We also heard new music, Soren's song, Be Still My Mind, featuring Rachel Yamagata. Beautiful track, recorded up at Hidden Quarry Studios outside of Woodstock. I believe he's in Bearsville. And by Danny Bloom, the artist again, Soren Song. He'll be performing next week in Woodstock at the new venue called Graveside Variety. It's operated by Amanda Palmer of the Dresden Dolls, and it's a small venue, but they've got some really cool music happening at Graveside Variety. And Soren Song will be there next week on November 9th, bringing his new music to that incredibly charismatic venue, Graveside Variety. You can find them on social media. This gentleman that we're going to play now, we hosted him here, and boy, was that a fun interview. Rhett Miller. He'll be performing at City Winery in Montgomery on November 19th. Let's take a listen to this track by the incredibly talented Mr. Rhett Miller.
Richard Wagner's letters to his lover Matilda were a mess. He should have quit before he had written the address. They made love on the mezzanine. Her husband was his friend. Vienna in a fugue state, working on a thing that when he finished it took almost 7 hours to sing. He still found time to write to her, his heart exploding words. Our love surpassed, our love so fast. Our love's all wrong, our love goes on and on. Our love became our love by name. When I wrote it to you in a song, our love goes on and on. Our love. Copying his letters to his lover, Milena was alive, but he was waiting for a love that never would arrive. Their rendezvous was singular. Her husband was his friend. She is a living fire. She is a reason to live. She is killing me, burning only for him. I'll spend my whole life loving her. A heart exploding words. Our love surpassed. Our love so fast. Our love's all wrong. Our love goes on and on. Our love became our love by name. When I wrote it to you in a song, our love goes on and on. Our love, our love, our love, our love. Our love surpassed, our love so fast. Our love's all wrong, our love goes on and on. Our love became our love by name. When I wrote it to you in a song, our love goes on and on. Our love, 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 our love.
لو كنت نغمض عيني وتاخذني الأحلام من ايديا ونعلى ونحلق في سما جديدة وننسى الوجايا. لو كنت نسافر في خيالي نزرع ونبني قصور وليالي يكبر فيها الحب وآمالي ونمحي الآلام. لو كنت نغمض عيني أمالي ونمحي الألام دنيا ترى فيها ملامح ناس قواسها البؤس والظلم والقار من واقع عاصر يعبث بي كل من ابني دنيا علت فيها أسوار طغيان ساحقها فينا أحلام وعم الظلام والأنانية في كل القلوب لو كنت نغمض عيني وتاخذني الأحلام من إيديا ونعلى ونحلق في سما جديدة وننسى لو كنت نسافر في خيالي نزرع ونبني قصور وليالي يكبر فيها الحب وآمالي ونمحي الآلام دنيا ترى فيها ملامح ناس قواسها الظلم والبؤس والقار من واقع ناصر يعبث بي كل من ابني دنيا علت فيها أسوار طغيان ساحق فينا أحلام وعم الظلام والأنانية في كل القلوب لو كنت نغمض عيني وتاخذني الأحلام من إيديا ونعلى ونحلق في سما جديدة وننسى الوجايا لو كنت نسافر في خيالي نزرع ونبني قصور وليالي يكبر فيها الحب وآمالي ونمحي الآلام
Wow. 91.3 WVKR. Emil. She's world renowned. Not so much here in the States, but all over the planet. She is. She lives in the Hudson Valley. She's making her Hudson Valley debut this weekend, Saturday, November 4th, at the Local in Saugerties. Tickets available at thelocalsaugerties.com. One of Hudson Valley's newest venues, and it's getting a lot of unbelievably great press. It's a great hang, great vibe. The atmosphere is just so inviting and so conducive to live music. The Local in Saugerties this weekend featuring Emil, who we just heard, an extraordinary voice. Tickets available, thelocalsaugerties.com for Emil this weekend. We also heard Rhett Miller, The Instigators, the name of the album, Our Love. And he'll be at City Winery in Montgomery, right here in the Hudson Valley on November 19th. Also another Hudson Valley resident, part of the old 97s, of course, Rhett Miller. And he was on the show, I think, sometime this year. And oh my God, we had so much fun. He's a great performer. And when you get a chance to go see him live, with or without the old 97s, he's fantastic, Rhett Miller. And again, November 19th at City Winery in the Hudson Valley. This next track, this gentleman will be performing at the Town Crier in Beacon this Friday night on the Salon stage. Let's take a listen to some music from Adam Falcon, 91.3.
Got a bird, wanna whistle. Baby got a bird, honey got a bird, will sing. Baby got a bird, honey got a bird, will sing. Without Corina, you sure don't mean a natural thing. I've learned to love you, baby, before I call, honey, before I call your name. Baby, before I call, honey, before I call your name. I wouldn't trade your love for money. Baby, you're my warm heart, mama, you're my warm heart flame. Have mercy, baby, on my heart, look, mama, on my heart, look, soul. Baby, on my heart, look, honey, on my heart, look, soul. Some rainbow around my shoulder, look like silver, baby, shine like Klondike gold. Baby got a bird, honey got a bird, will sing. You know my baby got a bird, honey got a bird, will sing. Without Corina, it sure don't mean a natural thing. Corina. Sing for me, baby. Without Corina, don't need no natural thing.
91.3 WVKR, Adam Falcon, the album called The Light Shines. We just heard the track Karina. Adam will be performing this Friday night at the Town Crier, the legendary Town Crier, right on Main Street in Beacon, New York. He'll be on the Salon stage, which means you don't need to buy tickets. Reservations are always suggested and recommended, and you can do just that by going to visit the Town Crier website, which is at towncrier.com, and that's town spelled with an E, crier.com. So I'm bumping another song because I think and I hope that my daughter's listening. And my daughter is celebrating her 23rd birthday tomorrow. And she's my greatest gift and my greatest joy. And I just pulled this song out of a hat. This is totally spontaneous. So she always says that Chris Thiele is her favorite living musician. And we had the great opportunity to see him perform with the Knights at Tanglewood this past summer. And then the funny thing was, she works at the Fisher Center at Bard. The next night, Chris Thiele was in the audience as an audience member for a performance that they had there. So we actually got to meet him and talk to him for a minute or two, and it was just a really, really cool highlight, you know? And so I just wanted to dedicate this song to my daughter. I wanted to wish you a happy, happy birthday, Caroline. And I love you more than I could even articulate into words. And I can't wait to celebrate you tomorrow November 2nd, on your actual birthday, because you're no longer in college and you're right here in the Hudson Valley. And I just can't wait. So happy birthday, just a few hours early. And here's a song by Chris Thiele that I hope you like. I just found it, and here you go. Happy birthday, Caroline, 91.3.
Fermentation for the wine. Thank wine for conversation with these relatives in law of mine. Thank these relatives for you, babe. Thank you for the bouncing boy, doing the best that he can do to keep this family entertained as it navigates the treacherous waters of talking small on this of all Thanksgiving's where even the weather can go from 0 to an all-out brawl in seconds. Just listen, man, kind of a warm November got you in the climate change again. Why you gotta be all doom and gloom? Whoa, boy, at least no one's mentioned the giant elephant in the room. Oops. Oh, feels good to be together, whether you think the world is ending soon or about to get better. So when the bottle's being passed, better fill your glass. Cheers, we're in it for the long haul on this of all Thanksgiving where even our sports can go from 0 to an all-out brawl in seconds. Be careful. Have you ever spent time in Cleveland? No. South side of Chicago? No. St. Louis? No. Ever heard about a fella named Ricketts? Yes. Anything to do with his politics? No. How about them Cubs? How about them Cubs? Just don't you mention the giant elephant. I mentioned it once and I think I got away with it. Just say, hey, what giant elephant in the room?
91.3 WVKR Caroline. I hope you liked that. And I hope you're listening. Otherwise, hopefully you'll listen to the recording. The track is called Thanks for Listening, and the album is called Thanks for Listening. The song is Elephant in the Room by the one and only, the extraordinary Chris Thiele. And that goes out to my daughter who's celebrating her 23rd birthday tomorrow. Happy, happy birthday, Caroline. Cannot wait to celebrate you tomorrow. It's coming, folks. It's coming. So, yeah, anyway, she's a great musician. She's a violinist. She's a teacher at the Rhinebeck School of Music. She graduated Ithaca College with 2.5 degrees in December, a degree in violin, music performance, and also a degree in economics and a minor in art history. And she's doing her thing. She did a great solo travel this year, and it's really a beautiful gift to watch her grow into this young adult and this lovely, kind, and generous soul. So happy birthday, Caroline. Your mama loves you. Loves you. So now it's time for musical happenings, because I could go on about her for the rest of the show. I got 10 minutes left. So we're going to do musical happenings, which is a feature I do each and every show towards the end of the show, where I list some Hudson Valley venues in the hopes that you go out and see some live music, support the musicians and the incredible world-class venues that we have here in the area. We do this in alphabetical order. Let's start with the Bardavon and UPAC, and tickets and info, bardavon.org. Tomorrow night, John Mulaney. November 3, Britt Floyd. November 17, Samantha Bee. November 18, Larry Campbell, Teresa Williams, and The Weight Man. Bearsville Theater in Woodstock, also bearsvilletheater.com. November 2nd, tomorrow, Woodstock Dance Party. November 4th, Lissy. Uncle Chief in Brewster. Tickets and info at unclechief.com. Tonight, Amanda Alaya. Thursday, Eric Kalp. Friday, Benny Bennick. Saturday, Charles Owen. And Sunday, brunch with Tyler Blanton. City Winery in the Hudson Valley in Montgomery. Info at citywinery.com. Tonight, Wind Down Wednesdays with Ethan Klee. November 5, Kathy Matea. November 7, Cowboy Junkies. And November 19th, Rhett Miller. Colony in Woodstock and colonywoodstock.com. Tonight, the Hudson Severn. Thursday, Consider the Source. Friday, Satellite of Love, tribute to Lou Reed. Sunday, David Panozzo. And every Monday is an open mic at Colony Woodstock. The Falcon in Marlborough and live at thefalcon.com. Tomorrow, Morale Coriel. Saturday, Deadgrass. Sunday, Guillermo Klein. Fisher Center at Bard College and fishercenter.bard.edu. November 1 through 4th, the dance program Evenfall. November 4 and 5, the Orchestra Now. Howland Chamber Music Circle at Howland Cultural Center in Beacon. Info, howlandmusic.org. November 12th, Arnaud Sussman and Michael Stephen Brown. Jazz Forum in Tarrytown, also at jazzforumarts.org. This Friday and Saturday, 2 shows each night featuring Vincent Herring and Eric Alexander. Levon Helm Studios in Woodstock and levonhelm.com. November 4, Helm Family Midnight Ramble. November 11, Squirrel Nut Zippers. The Local in Saugerties. Tickets and info at thelocalsaugerties.com. November 4th, Hudson Valley Debut with Emil. November 5, Jazz with Tim Byrne, Hank Roberts, and Aurora Neeland. Tarrytown Music Hall in Tarrytown, also at tarrytownmusichall.org. November 3, Eddie B's Comedy Tour. November 4, Pink Martini. Town Crier in Beacon and towncrier.com. Every Thursday is an open mic. Friday on the salon stage, Adam Falcon. Friday on the main stage, Adrian Legg. Saturday on the salon stage, Last Minute Soulmates. On the main stage, Stella Blues Band. Sunday brunch with East Coast Jazz and Sunday evening with Judy Cass and Michael Veitch. Last but not least, Wallkill River Center for the Arts Music Series. Info at wallkillriverschool.com. November 4th, Daniel Villegas and Company. It's a bilingual hip-hop spoken word poet. And that's what we've got. Thank you to today's guest, Pete Caigan from Utopia Bearsville. If you missed that interview or want to see any of the or hear any of the other ones that you may have missed, you can go to the YouTube channel, which is LocalMotion on 91.3 WVKR, as well as the Facebook page by the same name. They are all uploaded there. So thank you to Pete Caigan, Utopia Bearsville. Next